In this video, I'll walk you through how to use the Find and Replace tool to quickly make changes to your dataset. This tool is perfect if you have a large dataset and you'd like to make many of the same type of changes. Here's an example. We'll start with a dataset I downloaded from the Internet Movie Database, IMDb, which contains information for over 131,000 movies, along with information about when the movie was released, how long the movie was, what genre or type of movie it was, and who wrote and directed the movie. The dataset even contains scores for how the movies are rated by the internet community on a scale of 1 to 10, with higher scores reflecting more favorable ratings. Let's say I wanted to use this data for a project, and I really like how clean it is, but I'd like to make a few changes. First, I don't like the fact that IMDb uses an abbreviated version of science fiction. Instead of calling a film a science fiction film, IMDb labels it sci-fi. I'm afraid that some people might not understand that sci-fi is short for science fiction, so I'd like to replace the shorthand sci-fi with the longhand science fiction. If this were a small data set, I could easily just scan down the genre column, and everywhere I see the phrase sci-fi, I could delete it and type in science fiction. But with a file this large, this would take days to complete. What I really need is a shortcut. I'd like to say to Excel, "Hey Excel, use your computational powers to quickly scan the entire dataset, searching for any case of the phrase sci-fi, and every time you find one of these cases, do me a favor and replace it with the phrase science fiction." Fortunately, Excel has a great, easy-to-use tool to do this called Find and Replace. On my version of Excel, you can get to the Find and Replace tool from the Home ribbon. Once you're on the Home ribbon, you can find the Find and Select button, and then select Replace from the drop-down menu. So let's work through an example of how to use Find and Replace to filter through the genre column and replace every instance of sci-fi with science fiction. The first thing we do is select our search area. Here, we only want to search the genre column, column D, for instances of sci-fi. If we don't narrow this down, then Excel will search the entire dataset. Then, if it finds a movie with a title that contains sci-fi, it'll change the title of the movie, and we don't want to change any movie titles. An example of this is in row 7. There's a movie called Sci-Fighter. If we include movie title in our search, Excel will see that this cell contains sci-fi and try to replace the name of the movie to be science fiction-iter. Okay, so select column D by clicking on the D at the top row of our sheet. Then, from the Home ribbon, select the Find and Select button and select Replace from the drop-down menu. This will pull up a task box wizard where you'll tell Excel exactly what you'd like to do. In a separate video, I posted a walkthrough for using the Find tab to find data on a spreadsheet. In this video, we'll focus on how to replace data. So make sure you are in the Replace tab, and then Excel is basically asking, what do you want me to find, and what do you want me to replace it with? We'll tell Excel, find what? Find sci-fi, and replace with science fiction. From this point, we have two options. We can either go through each instance one at a time and make a decision to replace or not replace, or we can have Excel automatically go through the entire genre column. Let's do the one at a time option first. If I select Find Next, then Excel will start at the very top of the column and work its way down the sheet looking for instances of sci-fi. Here, it found one at the very top in row 2, the movie Yo Alien. If I wanted to replace this, I could select Replace, and you can see it automatically replaced Yo Alien's genre to science fiction, and found the next instance on the sheet, row 5, Andy Colby's Incredible Adventure. We can select Replace again, and Excel will automatically replace this one as well. So this is fast, but not fast enough. So our second option is to select Replace All. This will scan through our entire selected range, here the genre column, and automatically replace every instance of sci-fi with science fiction. And you can see Excel told us that the task is all done with 3,143 replacements being made. Well, that was quick. Let's change one more thing about this spreadsheet. You can see that there are a lot of instances where IMDb has missing data, where the data set is missing information about the writer or the director or something else. And when this happens, IMDb uses the convention of replacing the cell with the number symbol and then N/A. And this is very standard symbol used in database management that indicates that the information is not available. But for our purposes, it makes things look a bit messy. So let's clean it up by getting rid of all of these not available symbols. Again, we could go through the entire data set one by one, clearing the entries from all of these cells, but this would take too long, so let's use Find and Replace. This time, we'll have Excel search the entire spreadsheet. So let's select the entire spreadsheet, and we'll go to the Home ribbon, select Find and Select, and then choose Replace from the drop-down menu. In the Find What box, we'll type in number symbol N/A, and then in the Replace box, we'll just leave the box blank. Now we'll select Replace All, and this will scan through the entire sheet, changing every cell with a not available code to a blank cell. And all done. We just made over 100,000 changes to our worksheet in a matter of seconds.